Hey, welcome back to Blade and Brush. It's Mike, your daily wet shaver, and I am on a French soap today. This is Lucien, Le Pere Lucien Savon, and basically Sandalwood and Oud. That is the same. That is the soap that we're using today. It is a French tallow-based soap, hard milled. Here, as you can see, it comes in a lovely little tin. It is not only durable, but can be easily recycled or repurposed. And I actually like to do that. I like to recycle or repurpose stuff that can be. We live too much in a throwaway society. So I'm trying to minimize the amount of plastic stuff that I use, although yesterday I rediscovered a bacon microwave tray, and it's designed for microwaves to cook up crispy bacon. Well, not yesterday, the day before I did that, but yesterday I used it for the first time, and used it to make bacon, which is Black Forest bacon, and then so I ate that for some of that for breakfast, along with my scrambled eggs and toast and all that other fun stuff. And then for lunch, I had some burger patties and some cheddar, so I went ahead and took the leftover bacon grease, used that to line the griddle, and made myself up some burgers cooked in bacon fat, so bacon cheeseburgers. So that was my lunch yesterday, it was my lunch today. Now, the thing about French milled soaps is that they are triple milled, usually. And when you hard mill a soap, it'll last quite a good long time. So this was piffed to me by someone on the Shave Den internet discussion forum. Like I said, it's a French label. Let's get a good look at it. So if you want to buy it, you can probably find it on eBay. But I did go ahead and track down the aftershave and pre-shave oil on the auction site. So today I'm going to be shaving with this stuff. Just doing up my lather right now. Yeah, I've got a phone interview tomorrow, so it's an administrative position over at one of the local hospitals, so wish me luck, ladies and gents, because, yeah, I certainly need the employment, preferably full-time, but I need it to be at least $25 an hour, so they're offering up to 23 something an hour, which, don't get me wrong, I can't afford to pass it up, but I need to be making at least $25 an hour at 40 hours a week. That way I can afford to move out of here into my own place where I don't have to abide by any schedules but my own and what my boss sets for me. But it takes this stuff a minute to get into a good lather. So here, you've got the pre-shave oil right here. I don't know why, but the scent of this oil reminds me of potatoes. I don't know why. It's supposed to be the same scent profile as a soap, So that's really weird. I don't know. All right, so let's go ahead and get this. Get this out of my face. Yeah, the sooner I start working again, the sooner I can save up and get my own place again, instead of having to live with a relative. And the sooner I can save up and go back to the Philippines. I went there last year to visit my girlfriend and propose to her. She said yes, by the way. And I did get to try the famous fast food over there from Jollibee. Not everything, but it is definitely as advertised. But one thing I didn't get to try there was the Aloha Yum Burger. Which is basically a sweet hamburger with cheese and pineapple and bacon. Now, some people, myself included, like pineapple on pizza. Although I don't usually have ham on my pizza. It's not a Hawaiian pizza. I usually just order like sausage, pineapple, mushroom. Which actually makes sense when you consider how the sweetness of the pineapple contrasts with the salt from the meats and cheeses. But I understand, why people would reject that. It's one of the reasons why I reject bacon in chocolate or anything else that really doesn't belong with. I mean, don't get me wrong, bacon is good. I like bacon. I especially like duck bacon. There's a brand called D'Artagnan that specializes in duck and some other exotic or semi-exotic meats. I mean, they're exotic today. They weren't so much 100 years ago. But, bison, rabbit, venison, duck. But they sell duck breast, which I've broiled before. Usually what I do is I like to soak it overnight in elderberry wine from Breitenbach label. It's an Amish label right here in Ohio. And I like them because they don't make flavored grape wine. No, they make it from the actual berries, insofar as I'm aware. So you can have like blueberry wine, cherry wine, dandelion wine, which is really good. Tastes like honey. I'm not much of a drinker, but I do like to use it as a marinade to soak my meat in, or to make sauces with it. But yeah, getting back to the Philippines, it's a real eye-opening experience. And in more ways than one. In fact, I think everyone who is able to travel to another country, especially, one on the opposite side of the planet, should go at least once. Obviously, not everyone can, but if you're able to, visit another country. If you can stay there a couple weeks, maybe a month, actually live there, not just as a tourist. It really helps open up your perspective on how other people live and how they think and how they see the world. I think part of the problem we Yanks have is that we don't educate ourselves enough about how people actually live in other countries. We just believe what we're told by our own country's news programs, and they have tons of biases. So we often get a very skewed view of how other people live in other countries. And I find it helps to visit and actually see for yourself. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about this lather is that it can dissipate rather quickly. So you really got to make sure to find the right balance of water to soap. Build the lather on your face so that it doesn't go on too thin and dissipate too quickly. But one thing about going to the Philippines, actually two things you really need to understand. One, don't drink unfiltered water there. Drink bottled water. Because the tap water will make you sick. You really shouldn't even be brushing your teeth with it. The other thing is that when using a public toilet in the Philippines, you will want to take your own toilet paper and wet wipes, flushable ones, because Filipino public restrooms do not stock toilet paper, nor do they have bidets to clean yourself. Now, the condominium apartment that I rented for 2 weeks did have a bidet seat attachment, but pretty basic. But toilets in condominium apartment buildings usually have either that or a hose with a spray nozzle, a very high pressure spray nozzle that you can use to clean your backside. Or both. But don't bet on most households having toilet paper. Or even the spray nozzle, especially if you're up in the mountains. So, over there, they have this handled bowl called a tabo. And they usually have one or two for the bathroom. And then they've got kitchen tabos, which they use specifically for stuff like cooking or washing dishes. So when I got back to the States, I ordered a collapsible tabo for travel off of the river site. A little bit of rough spots here. But you'd be surprised about how Americanized the Philippines are when it comes to their malls. There's like a 7-Eleven on practically every corner. And lots of American brands. In fact, I even saw in the food court in the local mall there, they even had a stand for Krispy Kreme donuts, which I did not partake. I'm going to use my Mercure Moustache and Eyebrow razor to get the corners of my mouth. Haven't used this in ages, so figured why not use it today? Another thing about these mustache and eyebrow razor blades is that they're not terribly sharp. And they're also very prone to rust. Alright, so now that that's done, I'm going to take the blade out of here. Because like I said, these blades are prone to rust. They're not stainless steel, they're carbon steel. Which means they should be able to take and hold a good edge. But they don't. And part of the reason I found out after sending a message to someone at the Mercure website, really trying to figure out why the blades were like this. And it was explained that these are not made individually. They're stamped and cut out from sheets, which are then broken apart by hand, evened up, sharpened, and then wrapped in wax paper. But the process of doing that does take off some of the sharpness because you're breaking apart a blade that was a larger piece, and yeah, it's all really silly. But yeah, this is the Mercure Mustache and Eyebrow razor blade. As you can see, it's got two holes, one for stability, and then you usually use this for fine detailing around the mouth, trim up your mustache or your eyebrows. So that's what I like to do, usually around here, because I usually get some whiskers that just are very tricky to get, and then right up here going up into my nostrils, just because, again, depending on the razor head, it can be kind of tricky to go ahead and get all the whiskers over there. So yeah, that's the Mercure Mustache and Eyebrow razor. Let's do my post-shave treatment now. So yeah, the thing about any carbon steel razors, like whether it's a Mercure eyebrow razor or a carbon steel blade, Treat, which is a blade made in Pakistan, is typically carbon steel, which is great. Like I said, it takes and holds a good edge. But you got to take care of it. You got to pat it dry because rubbing will dull the edge blade. And then once you've patted it dry, you can dip it in 90% rubbing alcohol. You don't have to leave it in there, just, kind of dip it in there and then take it out to air dry, because rubbing alcohol will retard the rusting process. So you can leave it out to air dry after dipping it in alcohol. By the way, this is my Omega boar brush. As you can see, this is an ash wood handle. You don't see many ash wood handles anymore, or much ash wood in the first place, because there's an invasive species of beetle. It's called the emerald ash borer that lays its eggs in ash trees, and then the larvae tend to burrow their way out and kill the tree. And of course, our forestry services, in their vastly finite wisdom, decide, rather than isolating the affected trees and taking care of those, no, they're just going to cut down all the ash trees. It's like, what, are you fucking mental? Pardon my language. This is a rated R channel. So yeah, now we've got the aftershave splash. But yeah, I like this stuff. But yeah, the thing I like about these Astra blades is that you get it into the right razor, and for the duration of the blade, you're not going to get really any irritation or any nicks or cuts. I don't think I even really need to apply any post-shave balm, because the effect on my skin from that aftershave really isn't doing anything to burn or irritate. So yeah, I'm just gonna go without any post-shave balm. But yeah, like I said, this is the Pere Lucien Sandalwood and Oud barbershop shave soap. Very good brand out of France. Triple milled for longevity. Yeah, so that's it for today. I will see you. Take care.